Wendell Potter is with us. He is former VP of Corporate Communications at CIGNA, also author of the book Deadly Spin, and Senior Analyst at the Center for Public Integrity. Wendell, always great as always to talk to you. We've been seeing so much ever since Paul Ryan was deemed the VP running mate for Mitt Romney about this issue of Medicare cuts. Initially, the claim was, well, look, Paul Ryan is not good for seniors. He's essentially going to destroy Medicare. And the kind of counter to that from the right wing has been, listen, President Obama also is stripping $700 billion from Medicare through the Affordable Care Act, so it's all the same thing. Let's start right there. Is it the same thing? Are there differences? What of that is true? What of it is not true?
Well, they're very, very different approaches. And it's very disingenuous to call these, what the president is doing with the Affordable Care Act, cuts to Medicare. It's actually not that at all. What the Affordable Care Act does over 10 years, it reduces payments to healthcare providers and insurance companies, and that's a very good thing. In fact, the hospitals and doctors that have been involved in this have looked at this and actually endorsed it as the healthcare reform debate was going on, because they know that if you bring more people into coverage, and these reductions in payments to these providers will help finance the expansion of coverage to bring more people into coverage, that means that there'll be less uncompensated care, less bad debt that hospitals have to carry. So it's not any cuts. In fact, the Affordable Care Act adds to benefit healthcare beneficiaries or Medicare beneficiaries. It covers preventive care for the first time, important screenings like cancer screenings, and it also begins to close that donut hole, so people will not have to spend so much out of their own pockets for their medications. So it is very disingenuous. The Affordable Care Act helps seniors, and it strengthens the Medicare program by reducing spending over 10 years.
Okay, now when we look at the Ryan budget, those same $700 billion supposedly that are being pointed to, there we are actually really seeing a reduction in the benefits that eventually get to seniors.
Well, what Ryan is doing, not only is he saying that those reductions in payments will go forward, he's also saying that what he wants to do is to fundamentally restructure the Medicare plan, Medicare program, and replace it with, for all practical purposes, a voucher program in which the government would give Medicare beneficiaries a certain amount of money every year to go out on the private market and buy private health insurance, which is a very, very bad thing in my view for senior citizens, because it essentially is privatizing Medicare, turning it over to private insurance companies, the very companies I used to work for and left largely in disgust because of just how they do business and how inefficient they are and how much they've, over many years, ripped the government off and ripped beneficiaries off. The last thing in the world we want to do is turn the Medicare program over to these private insurance companies.
I want to touch a little bit on something that wasn't yet decided the last time you were on the program. Last time you were on, we didn't yet have a decision from the Supreme Court about the constitutionality of the Affordable Care Act. Now that we've seen that, I'm interested to get your thoughts on this idea. We're still hearing from some circles that this is some kind of socialist or communist health care plan. My reading of it is this is mandating that the private insurers have more customers. I've never heard of a socialist program that gives private companies a ton more customers. That just doesn't make sense to me, yet we're still seeing that idea out there.
We're still seeing that because some people will believe whatever they're told. They will go to places to get their information or misinformation, as it usually is when it comes to the Affordable Care Act, from people who have an agenda to misinform them. And often you can trace back this misinformation to a lot of the special interests that have tried to influence the law and the way it's implemented, in particular my former industry. But you're exactly right. The way it's structured, it does represent a new revenue stream for private insurance companies. It is the farthest away from socialized medicine that you can possibly get. It gives the private insurance industry new lease on life, if you will. Their business models otherwise are simply not sustainable. But because they are so powerful and influential in Washington, congressional Democrats and the president felt we had to, or they had to, work with the existing system and try to make it better and try to fix some of the problems with it rather than just throwing the whole thing out and starting over.
One of my main concerns about the Affordable Care Act, for all of the good things that it does, is that because it does give so many new customers to the for-profit healthcare model, that it will actually, in the long run, make it more difficult to actually move away from the for-profit, employer-centered insurance plan and towards something like what Vermont is proposing to do. Is that a reasonable concern? In other words, the fact that now there are even more people in that for-profit system?
You know, what I think can happen, and I'm hoping will happen, if the restrictions, if the new regulations on insurance companies continues to go forward, and I trust that it will, then their profit margins will be squeezed. And I've seen over the course of my time in the industry, when these companies are not making what Wall Street analysts and investors expect of them, they'll tell them to get in a new line of business. I've seen the insurance industry change radically in the 20 years that I was a part of it. And I think we'll see it evolving. I'm hopeful that the profit companies will be squeezed so much that the for-profit companies will say this is not where we can make the most money and move on to do some other things and essentially leave the marketplace to either nonprofit or co-ops or something else that would replace the stranglehold that the insurance industry has on its system. I think it's entirely possible. And I do think also that the Affordable Care Act does allow states to go beyond and do other things, as you mentioned, Vermont. And Vermont is moving toward a single-payer system. If it can succeed, I think other states will pay attention and follow suit.
And we have to assume that even though Vermont, because of its low population, is not the big profit center for most for-profit insurers, there has to be fear that if it goes well in Vermont, it will now be looked at as precedent to do it in bigger states.
You're exactly right. Even though the big for-profit companies don't have a big presence in Vermont, they're watching it very carefully, and they would like nothing more than to derail that effort. And I'm confident that they're already pouring money into front groups in the state to try to generate fear of what's going on there, to get people to second guess their decisions to move forward toward a single payer. So that's exactly what I think will happen. But Vermont's a different kind of state, and it may just be able to pull this off. The governor is fully supportive of it. The legislature is still controlled by Democrats who voted in large numbers to move forward. And there are a lot of people at the grassroots level who are very active in supporting this. So despite the opposition from the insurance industry, I think Vermont has a very good chance of pulling this off. The problem is it'll take a few years. They can't just do it next year. It has to be phased in. The Affordable Care Act, well, I said it allows states to go beyond. It only doesn't allow them to do much more until 2017, after most of the Affordable Care Act is already in place. But it does give states flexibility.
All right, and we'll be watching that very, very closely, as well as the front groups, which you describe in great detail in the book Deadly Spin. We've been speaking with Wendell Potter, Senior Analyst at the Center for Public Integrity, also former VP of Corporate Communications at CIGNA. Pleasure as always, Wendell. Thank you.
Thank you, David.